I'd like to call the meeting of February 22nd, 2021 of the Dartmouth School Committee to order. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening, both the few that we have here and also those of you at home. Per Governor Baker's order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the public will not be allowed to physically access the school committee meeting. Members of the public can access the meeting via live stream at www.youtube.com/DHS TV Media. In addition, the event will be rebroadcast on DCTV's Channel 9 and 18 on the following days, Wednesday and Thursday at 5, Friday at 6, Saturday at 8, and on Sundays at 2 p.m. The school committee reserves the right to implement additional remote participation procedures and will notify the public of these procedures as soon as possible. I'd also like to let you know that there are also other times that we will show up on DCTV where they have open slots, and we greatly appreciate them. Roll call, please, Ms. Gunther.
Chris Oliver. Shannon Jenkins. Kathleen Amaral.
Here.
Mary Waite.
Here.
John Nunes.
I'm here. And for those of you, Mr. Oliver and Dr. Jenkins are both under the weather. Dr. Jenkins is attempting to join us on the live stream, and we hope that they both feel better and get back here real quick. Our first order of business is the approval of the regular session and executive session minutes of February 8th, 2021. I'll start with the regular session, please.
I make a motion that we accept the regular session
Got
minutes.
a motion by Ms. Amaral,
Second.
second by Ms. Wade. On the motion, any discussion? Chair hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The executive session minutes of February 8th, 2021.
I'm going to attempt this.
Go ahead.
I'm going to attempt to make a motion that, oh gosh, it just, I don't know if I can do
Just
this.
plug it in and we'll fill it in.
That we set the minutes see.
And hold
I'm
them
not-
until the
the-
matter for which
You're
they were
making me,
intended is
yes,
complete.
thank you. You're
Yep.
making me nervous looking at the
No, that's
expert
fine.
at that.
So we have a motion by Ms. Amaral and second by
Second.
Ms. Waite.
Yep.
On the motion, any discussion?
No.
Chair hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. At this point in time, we have allotted some time for 10 minutes for public comment. If you have any comments, they're welcome during this comment section and also during the meeting. If you have any comments, please send them to our wonderful recording secretary, and that would be Kathleen Gunther, GENTHER at dartmouthschools.org. And we'll circle back. Do we have anything yet, Ms. Gunther?
Three have been received so far. I have forwarded to the committee members.
Okay. Thank you. And we'll circle back at the end. Okay. Thank you. Okay, that being said, some good stuff that we're always here and some personally is nice, I enjoy, and that is some recognition. Dr. Gifford.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a little background. We are a member of the South Coast Educational Collaborative, and as such, member districts are invited each year to submit a name of one of our high school students that is deserving of recognition and a scholarship as well. So we did have, unfortunately, had to have a virtual meeting. Usually it's a nice celebration with luncheon and everything else, but obviously it was a virtual meeting where all of the students from the area towns were recognized. So tonight I'd like to recognize Mr. Tebow to then recognize our student who was chosen by the high school, and her parents are here as well, so we're really happy to have them here.
Thank you, Dr. Gifford. I'd like to thank Dr. Gifford and members of the Dartmouth School Committee for the opportunity to present this year's Dartmouth High School's this year's recipient of the Francis W. Galashaw Memorial Scholarship, which is awarded annually to one student from each of the schools that make up the South Coast Educational Collaborative. And while I know from speaking with the high school principals from across the area that the scholarship is appreciated by each of the South Coast schools, it holds particular meaning to us here in Dartmouth because, as those of you you may or may not be aware, the scholarship is actually named in honor of the Director of Technology, Mr. Galashaw's father, who was a founding member of the South Coast Collaborative. So the award has special significance to us here at Dartmouth because of that connection. But this year, Dartmouth High School is delighted to be able to recognize a student who has demonstrated not only extraordinary academic achievement, but who has also demonstrated an exceptional commitment to service and leadership within the Dartmouth community. When considering which deserving student we might select to represent Dartmouth High School for this honor each year, we pay particular attention to students who have led by example in service to all students that make up the Dartmouth community, including those with disabilities, as we hold such service in the highest esteem and believe that such service aligns well with the mission of the South Coast Educational Collaborative. Gives me great pleasure to recognize Maya Leonardo as Dartmouth High School's 2020 recipient of the Francis W. Galashaw Memorial Scholarship. Maya is a most deserving recipient of this tremendous honor as an exceptionally well-rounded student who has distinguished herself as a student athlete, a student artist, and as a caring, compassionate member of Dartmouth High School, committed to leaving our school a little better than she found it. As a student, Maya has earned marks that place her in the top 10 at Dartmouth High School, including a tremendous record of achievement in our advanced placement program. To date, Maya has earned 2 A+, 4 A's, and a B+ in the 6 AP courses she has either already completed or is currently enrolled in, all while being an active member of our school's environmental club, medical careers club, and a leader on the girls' soccer and spring track teams. As a student artist, Maya has earned 2 first place and 1 third place award at our annual K-12 Art and Innovation Showcase, which is adjudicated by practicing artists from throughout the Commonwealth, and has also received the Tufts University Scholastic Silver Key Award in digital photography. But perhaps more impressive than her exceptional academic performance is her commitment to leadership and service. While I could speak for at least an hour about Maya's many leadership and service achievements, I will highlight just a few of them which make her deserving of today's honor. Maya's commitment to leadership and service include service as a mentor to our new and incoming freshman students, service as the founder, a community ambassador, and the president of the Best Buddies chapter at Dartmouth High School, service and leadership as the class of 2021 president her freshman and sophomore year, service as a member of the Youth Task Force, hours of service at Gifts to Give, as well as service as a bell ringer for the Salvation Army, founder of Happy Feet Shoe Drive, and founder of Empower, which is a website that aims to spread positivity through inclusivity in the Commonwealth. In addition to her commitment to leadership and service, Maya has also been recognized as Miss Quikishan's Outstanding Teen, as well as Miss Freetown's Outstanding Teen. For these reasons and more, Dartmouth High School is proud to recognize Maya Leonardo as our recipient of the Francis W. Galashaw Memorial Scholarship and wish her well when she continues her education in the pursuit of a career as an orthodontist. Congratulations, Maya, and as well to Mr. and Mrs. Leonardo, who are joining us this evening.
Maya, would you like to say anything? Ms. Amaral?
You're quite an incredible young woman, and just thank you for sort of standing out in the crowd and moving forward, and kind of, it sounds like you're quite a leader. And on a personal note, as a parent of a young man who, the greater community doesn't always see his gifts because he can't speak. But to know that there are allies out there like you to inspire others to follow in your footsteps, to recognize the gifts that people with disabilities have. So I hope you continue with that, and thank you.
Thank you. Mary?
Yes, and Maya, what a great level of accomplishment you've given to Dartmouth High. It's amazing. I can't wait to follow your journey as you move on in the next 4 years. I'm sure you have some decisions ahead of you, but thank you. There's so many accomplishments, and it's a great path that you've led for students to follow. So thank you very much, and congratulations.
Yeah, Maya, congratulations. I guess my couple of questions I have is, number one, how do you fit all of that in a 24-hour day? Considering maybe you can sleep a couple of hours at night? That's good. Where are you headed to school next year?
Right now, as of now, I'm heading to Northeastern unless I go to school.
Yeah. Well, you will definitely do well at Northeastern. There is no doubt about it. And just want to take a moment on behalf of the committee, and I know Mr. Oliver and Dr. Jenkins is looking in, type of deal. We wish you nothing but the best, and congratulations and good luck as you go forward. And thank you for doing what you've done. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for coming,
Thank you
for sure.
We appreciate the fact that we had to postpone from a couple of weeks ago just because of the way things went. So we, appreciate you being flexible. Thank you.
Thanks.
You're more than welcome to hang around, but
Please.
you can
Or you
also,
can leave.
you probably have, some homework to do. We'll
Yeah.
let you go.
Thanks again.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now to some more good stuff.
It's all good tonight.
It's all good tonight. No, that's as always type of deal. Okay, Dr. Gifford, spotlight on George H. Potter
Okay.
School.
All right, so tonight we're very happy to welcome the Potter School. And of course, we have Principal Mr. Porter, as well as the assistant, Melissa McHenry, and an administrator in waiting, or in training, as they say, I guess, Kristen Martino, to present the spotlight on Potter.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gifford, for inviting us this evening. And good evening, and we want to thank you all for this opportunity to talk about Potter School during this very unique 2020-21 school year. As Dr. Gifford just mentioned, I'm Rick Porter. I'm the principal at Potter School. I'm joined here at the table with Melissa McHenry. Melissa is our new assistant principal at Potter, and if you walk the halls at Potter School with staff or students, they would say that was the best decision that I made this year. She has been a fabulous addition to our staff. In addition to Melissa, Kristen Martino, who is a longtime first grade teacher, is joining us this evening. As Dr. Gifford mentioned, Kristen is getting her administrative license, so this is part of her intern hours. So we're certainly hoping that right now on YouTube her professor is observing this, because this is her formal observation. So here's to the technology, folks. And although Kristen, Melissa, and I are speaking tonight, this presentation is a collaborative effort of the amazing staff at Potter School. So for years, it's been said that Potter School is our happy place for our entire Potter community. But this year, we want to talk to you about how it's also our safe place for learning. So since March of 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic has brought challenges like no other time for all of us who have been involved in education. So even though the pandemic has brought these very unique challenges, the solutions can be found in how we react to these challenges. And as we go back and turn to the philosophies of PBIS, which is Positive Behavioral Intervention Systems. And Potter School's Foundation for Learning has always been grounded in our PBIS plan, known as our Potter's P-to-the-3 plan. When we went to revisit the plan, we realized it was grounded in ways to create a safe and effective school, something we needed now more than ever. We again needed to help both the children and the staff to focus on positive behaviors and positive responses during these challenging times. In essence, we have revisited our core values, school-wide, consistent beliefs for all students and staff. And by returning to what we know, we have tried to bring a sense of normalcy and consistency during a very difficult time. So that meant the values of being kind, being safe, and being a learner. And because we are positively Potter, our guiding principles are pause to be kind, pause to be safe, pause to be a learner. Now, of course, the students at Potter School, they love the animal paw print. But we really think of the other meaning of the word pause. And that means to stop and think what it means to be kind, what it means to be safe, and how is the best way to be an effective learner. So, Kristen's going to talk about our first principle, which is pause to be kind.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. At Potter School, we try to instill an understanding that kindness matters and have our students embrace that in a world where they can be anything, be kind. We greet our students every morning during their arrival, and we'll share a video shortly showing this in action. We hold weekly social-emotional learning meetings to address student attendance, student mental health concerns, and to ensure that we are supporting any family that might be in crisis. This year, we kicked off our P-to-the-3 positive plan by holding grade-level assemblies outside, maintaining social distance, while having some fun. We hold various theme days, like pausing to be a learner all day and night, where we wore our PJs, and had a pajama day. We also had a pirate theme day because we are pausing to be safe at Potter School. We kept the safety theme going when we applauded our essential workers by dressing like them. In order to be kind to our staff, we have a newly created staff relaxation area to support our staff's well-being as well. Here are some pictures illustrating how we greet our students in the morning to promote a positive learning environment, letting them know they matter and we care. And here's that video we promised, showing our morning arrival, greeting a student coming right off the bus.
Good morning! Welcome back! Keep those horses in between you. Keep those horses.
Pause to be a learner all day and all night.
That's right.
Have a great day.
Pause to be a learner. Keeping those horses in between you. Good work. Miss Kathy, have a great day.
And now, over to you, Mrs. McHenry, for Pause to be Safe.
Thank you, Kristen, and good evening, everyone. So I'm going to talk about our second principle, which is called Pause to be Safe. And obviously, this is a very important one in the times that we are in. So at the beginning of the school year, in conjunction with the district, Mr. Porter and I created a Potter Hybrid Planning Committee to develop the Potter Safety Plan for our hybrid model that we shared with students, staff, and our families. So this evening, we're going to share some of those safety protocols that were part of that plan. The first one is to stay 6 feet apart. Now, with elementary age students, this might be a challenge for them to understand what does 6 feet look like. So if you heard in the video that we just shared, we tell the students, keep a horse between you, or an alligator, or a motorcycle. And in the picture, you can even see we actually have a 6-foot ruler that we were using in the halls to help the students visualize what keeping 6 feet apart actually means. In addition, we encourage our students to frequently wash their hands and utilize the hand sanitizer that we have before they enter a room in the school and as they exit. And that includes coming in from recess and going out for recess as well. And most importantly, we encourage everyone to wear their mask. And I'll be honest, at the beginning of the school year, I wondered if our students would be able to do this, and I wondered if I myself could even do this. But I can say that students and staff have all risen to the occasion and have been great at it, including our littlest learners in our preschool program, who were the first students to enter our building, and they kind of showed us, yes, it can be done. Next, we have some safety protocols for staff. So here at Potter, we utilize our teacher assistants as substitutes to minimize outsiders coming into the building. Our teacher assistants are fabulous in learning the teacher's Google Classroom and how to get in and out of that. So this is very successful, including times when we may have some staff who unfortunately have to be quarantined, and they might be working from home, but we utilize the teacher assistants in the classroom to assist the students to maintain their engagement in the Google Classroom with the teacher at home. So big shout out to our teacher assistants. And to Mrs. Sandra Chicka, our technology integration specialist, who helps with the tech piece for our staff. So who else supports our safe school? Well, we couldn't do it without our fabulous custodial staff. So Nick Chamberlain, Jesse Sanders, Danny DeSilva, a huge shout out to them. They are constantly on the go, cleaning high-touch areas, disinfecting desks, cleaning bathrooms multiple times a day. I'd also like to give a shout out to Mr. Chamberlain, our head custodian, who also assists me getting PPE, particularly sanitizer wipes, for example, out to our classrooms and out to our teachers. Along with our custodial staff, we could not do it without the phenomenal, fabulous, I could go on and on about Mrs. Paula Lassie, our school nurse. She meets with Mr. Porter and I daily to update us on COVID cases, students who may be quarantined. She also assists us when we're interviewing staff to determine close contacts. And she also works very closely with the Board of Health. So she takes care of all of us, and we just couldn't do it without her. The next few slides are just some examples of our safety protocols. And we're starting with a young man who never needs a reminder to make sure he grabs his hand sanitizer before getting off the bus.
Good morning. Pausing to be safe. Hi, Levi. Have a great day. Good morning.
And although we have always wanted visitors in our building to see the wonderful things that our staff is doing, obviously we can't have visitors coming in this year. Here we have a video showing how we safely allow visitors into the school if they ever need to come to pick up something or drop something off for a student.
At Potter School, our office has been reconfigured so that all that come to Potter can feel safe. Let's go inside and take a look. In our entryway, we now only allow one family at a time who is coming to Potter School. Our office has been outfitted with plexiglass to keep not only our secretaries safe, but our visitors as well. We have also come up with a way for families to get materials for their children. Even though most activities are done digitally, there are some very important paper and pencil activities that must be given to students when they are absent. Families can come by in a contactless way to get these activities for their children. At Potter School,
And this next slide shows some pictures of our fabulous custodial staff, starting on the left with Jesse Sanders, who helps deliver lunches and breakfasts at the end of the day for our students to take home for their at-home learning days. So on top of all that cleaning, he's also doing that for us. And here's our head custodian, Nick Chamberlain, sanitizing like he does every day the door handles multiple times throughout the day. And the next slide is a video of our custodian, Danny DeSilva, and what sanitizing the desks at the end of the day, after school, what that looks like. Because many people wonder, what does that cleaning look like? Well, here's what it does. And now back to you, Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mrs. McHenry. I'd also like to add, we just didn't have a picture of it, but our new cafeteria manager at Potter School this year, Sylvia Melanson, has been another amazing addition. She is one delivering the lunches, as well as with help from the custodial staff, and also with their staff, Linda and Renee. They have also done just an amazing job. So the next principle is pause to be a learner. So despite the challenges of the pandemic, children are learning, and we will share with you some data in just a moment. Our incredible staff has revisited all aspects of their own instructional model to meet children's needs during this unprecedented time. As always, we look at data to drive our instruction, but we have to recognize that some of the data points do have an asterisk next to them, as there are many variables that impact their validity this year. Student attendance, the fidelity of interventions when staff are asked to take over other classrooms, technology challenges, and also the context of how we are learning this year makes comparative data less useful. So the most important data point we can rely on is a teacher's professional judgment. They know their students best, so when deciding on intervention services, we rely heavily on what the teacher is seeing every day with their students. All of our teachers have become technological wizards as it relates to Google Classroom, giving families a consistent platform as it relates especially to at-home learning. As a district, we have redesigned our specialist schedule, art, PE, music, etc., so that the teachers at a grade level will have the same prep time every day to be able to collaborate with their grade level colleagues. So if you walk the hallways at Potter School or spend some time in our repurposed cafeteria, you will see makeshift professional spaces that have been created, socially distant, so that teachers can engage in this level of collaboration. Because consistency is important, we do our best to make sure that those special areas are always covered, so the children have PE and health, and the teacher does get the prep time. A huge shout out goes out to our substitute teacher, Ann Lacoste, this year. She started the year as our substitute PE teacher, and she's currently our substitute health teacher. Also to many other staff who are wearing many different hats. One example, our art teacher, Beth Netto. She works Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, but frequently she will come in on a Monday and Friday to fill in for someone who happens to be out. So like I said, all teachers are wearing many different hats this year. They're thinking outside the box because it's the best way we can keep this ship afloat for the benefit of our students. Many of our staff meetings this year, we're using a vertical team collaboration approach so that staff can work with staff members they don't normally work with on a daily basis. This has helped to promote creative solutions as it relates to at-home learning and synchronous instruction between the cohorts. And as always, we have become skilled pipe cleaners because we are remaining very fluid and flexible. So here are some examples of our fabulous staff hard at work. They have come up with creative solutions for the at-home learning. They have thought of ways to bring the cohorts together, and they have made student spaces warm and inviting for learning while still promoting the 6-foot social distancing rule. And I have to say, that became really evident to Mrs. McHenry and I before the kids came in. When we took a look at the preschool classroom where 3- and 4-year-olds are going to be, where we would normally have tables and learning spaces and a rug, and we saw 9 student desks that had to be adjusted to fit their little heights. Those teachers, not just in preschool but in the other grade levels, they have taken those spaces and made them look kid-friendly. So it's a testament to their hard work to make the kids feel warm and invited. So here's the data we were talking about. So we continue to use the STAR data benchmarking system to track student learning. Now, because all students K-5 participate in STAR benchmarking every 6 to 8 weeks, it does provide us with consistent data when tracking student progress. So this particular slide shows us information on students throughout our entire school who are at or above the grade level benchmark, and for students who are in need of urgent intervention. So if you look at the numbers on the left, in the fall, STAR told us that we had 66% of our population performing at or above grade level in reading, and 74% of our student population performing at or above grade level in math. When we looked at the winter data, we were hoping to see that number rise, meaning more students were performing at or above grade level benchmarks. As you can see in reading, we saw our student population go from 66% to 73% of our students who were at or above grade level, and in math we saw the number increase from 74 to 82. So conversely, when looking at the data on the right side of the slide, you want to see that number go down, meaning less children require urgent intervention, meaning that they are responding to the high quality instruction. And as you can see, comparing fall to winter, we are seeing less kids needing intensive intervention. Now, when we drill down into that data, there are always areas that we need to grow. And as mentioned earlier, there are a lot of variables attached to the data this year due to these times. But we can say that our kids are learning, they are making effective progress, and we are thrilled about that. And one thing that hasn't changed, we strive to make learning fun, despite these obvious challenges. As evident in these pictures here, they even are learning in all that snow we've had. So we're having a good time in learning too. And despite the pandemic, we are keeping our Potter traditions alive. Most important of these traditions that children await every year is the arrival of Albuquerque turkey at our annual Thanksgiving Day assembly. So, Albuquerque did arrive this year, just with some adjustments. He visited each classroom outside their windows and was able to make a virtual appearance at our online assembly later in the day as we sang his traditional entrance song. And again, it's a theme I'm going to revisit, but it's something that Mrs. McHenry and I truly believe. We cannot stress just how amazing the staff has been during this exceptional year. As the year has progressed, our teachers recognize the importance of getting the two cohorts together beyond just morning and afternoon meeting. Recently, most of our teachers have engaged in synchronous teaching with both cohorts. In the first slide, we see second grade teacher Lynn Pimentel teach a math lesson with her in-school students, along with the students learning at home.
Okay, so right now we are playing a Jeopardy game.
Part of the problem. 58 minus 10. Go ahead and solve them. When you got it, friends at home, put your whiteboards up for me to see. And friends at school, put your whiteboards up for me to see. Ooh, this is one of those math facts we learned, an easy math fact to solve. So Mason, solving it on that. Oh, I like what you're doing. You're breaking apart your numbers there, Mason. Nice. All right. Oh, looking good, Gavin. All right. Looking good. So, what are we solving on?
In the second video, fourth grade teachers Christine Oliveira, along with special education teacher Michelle Dias, bring both their cohorts together for a review Jeopardy-style game.
Cohort A and Cohort B. Cohort A is on the computer, while Cohort B is here in class. And they are solving for the problem. Tim bought 9 giant cookies, each of which cost $4. How much money did Tim spend? So right now it is Cohort B's turn to answer. They're doing.
So it went back and forth. I don't know if you could see it with Mrs. Pimentel, but on her desk was also her laptop where she was engaging with her students there as well. So by doing more synchronous teaching, not only are students engaging in more instruction, but we continue to build community with both cohorts coming together. It has had a positive impact on learning, but we are still following the safety guidelines. Now here's Mrs. Martino to give some more shout outs.
Thank you again, Mr. Porter. We'd be remiss if we didn't give a huge shout out to our Potter School teaching assistants. At Potter School, our TAs are fabulous. They are some of the most flexible, hardworking individuals you'd ever meet. They are the true unsung heroes of Potter School. Here are just a few of them. Jen Roulard, doing a data collection activity that she actually prepared and led herself. Joyce Braga, working one-on-one with a student needing a little extra support in the hallway. Kim Morin, leading a reading group in first grade. And Teresa Goya, working one-on-one with a student as well. Our true unsung heroes of Potter School. Melissa?
Thank you, Kristen. As Mr. Porter discussed on a previous slide, yes, our students are learning and they are certainly reading. And dare I say they're reading more this year than in the past, despite the pandemic. So our students have the opportunity to have tangible books in their hand, but our district and our teachers have come up with online resources that make books available to students both during the day when they're in school and at home on their at-home learning days. Some of these programs include Epic, Mayan, and Bitmoji classroom libraries, just to name a few. And although we had to use our library room at Potter for a different purpose this year, our fabulous library assistant, Mrs. Amy Jasmine, came up with a wonderful way for book borrowing to still happen in the school. Just this time, we're bringing the books to them as opposed to them visiting the library. So let's hear what Mrs. Jasmine has to say.
Hi, I'm Amy Jasmine, the library TA at Potter. And this year, since the students can't come to the library, we've set up a mobile book borrowing system so we can bring the library safely to them.
In addition, our reading specialists, Wendy Clark and Kerry Kagan, are still able to maintain services for students who require more support in reading through small group interventions, but in a safe environment in their rooms. So here we have Wendy Clark describing how this works.
Hello everyone, welcome to the reading room. My name is Wendy Clark. I'm one of the reading specialists with Kerry Kagan. We share a room. As you can see, our air filter's right here, and each student has their own box to work in. They all wear their masks. We are 6 feet apart. They each have their own bag with reading tools. At the end of each lesson, we have a certain routine where they come. It's right here on the wall. Miss Kagan has her own. They have to stand over here on their colors while we clean every desk so that we're safe. We have, even during remote, students are attending, participating, and progress is being made. Thank you for joining us, and happy reading. Hello everyone, welcome to the reading room.
There she is again.
There we go. At Potter, our special areas continue to be places of learning, safety, and fun. In the first video, Beth Netto, our art teacher, will describe what art looks like in a safe environment.
Hi there, this is Mrs. Netto here, and I'm here in 2nd grade, and my friends are painting today. We're having a great time together. We're learning a value scale and how to create a Valentine with value, and we're keeping safe by maintaining our social distance. We're wearing our masks, and we're using disposable materials so that we can be safe. All right, my friends, thanks for coming to visit us. Have a great day.
And the next video is a sampling of Mrs. Donahue's gym classes and what that looks like at Potter. Back to you, Mr. Porter.
Now, you've heard enough from us.
Hi.
But let's hear from some of our Potter kids. They can tell you the best why Potter is their safe and happy place.
Potter School is my happy place because it's very easy to make friends here.
Potter is my happy place because I love art and music, and I love to see my teacher.
Potter School is...
I think Potter School is a happy place because there's a lot of adults to talk to and they keep everyone safe. Well, the people at night, they come and they clean the whole school while we're at our houses getting comfortable and getting ready to go to bed. Potter School is my safe place because I am protected from strangers inside of it. Potter is my happiest place because I like art and I love seeing my teachers.
Potter School is my happy place because I can see my best friends and my favorite teacher.
How do we stay safe at Potter School?
We put our masks on. We wash our hands. We stay in our own space.
Potter School.
And again, the real superheroes at Potter School are the amazing staff that make up our village. They come in each and every day during these most uncertain times because they are proud of the village and the community that we have created for our students. Every position that you see up there plays a vital role in the everyday lives of our kids. It is these people who are making a difference and who are contributing to our happy and safe place. So, to end our presentation tonight, we wanted you to hear from one of those amazing superheroes. Here is longtime Potter School teacher assistant Jen Roulard reading one of her poems to tell you her thoughts on the importance of creating a safe and happy space for students.
To feel safe is to be happy. To be happy is to feel safe. In my eyes, you can't have one without the other. Essential ingredients for the education of a child. A necessary environment for the success of an educator. To spend my day with the assurance of both is a blessing, a privilege, an honor. It reflects on my ability to teach. To connect, to listen, to encourage, to celebrate the students that surround me. Because their eyes are very telling, expressing exuberance in an aha moment, expressing calmness in the comfort of belonging, expressing gratitude for being understood, and expressing a never give up attitude because mistakes are part of learning. Here, we are safe to make a mistake because here, when we try, we are happy.
And we thank you for virtually visiting Potter School this evening.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Porter, Ms. McHenry, and Mrs. Martino. I'll open it up to my colleagues. Mrs. Amaral?
Sure. Great presentation. You never disappoint. Great job, Kristen. For the record, for your professor. No, I mean, just great job. I love what you always do in your school and the way you feel, the way your students and your staff historically feel supported and you know, your a long time focus on social emotional health of everyone. So that, to be expected, it was a great presentation. I loved how you pointed out that data because, of course, we're hearing from families who are just so concerned about their students' learning because it's different, and much like, you know, the emails we get about parents frustrated that we're in a hybrid, you know, model, and all of that goes into that. You know, we get that, but yeah, it's just really great presentation. I was wondering if there are opportunities for you and how you've gone about, I don't know how many students are virtual, but how you maintain some sort of connection with those families in terms of the students that chose virtual, like the families that chose virtual learning for their students. Do they still receive newsletters and that sort of thing from you to keep feeling part of the community?
Sure. The one thing that Mrs. McHenry and I do, and this really, it was the brainchild of Katie Paveo, the principal of DeMello, we do send out in weekly family email newsletter, just if anything, to let them know what the cohorts are for the next week. And we also give them, you know, bits of information. We made a very conscious decision not to send that out, though, to the Virtual Learning Academy students from Potter, just because we didn't want to confuse them.
Yep.
But that being said, we have maintained a very close relationship with the staff in the Virtual Learning Academy to assist them with any students that may need additional help. I know Mrs. McHenry has been working with our Potter School PTO president to see what things we can do starting in the spring, because what we're going to have to remember come September, where fingers crossed things are going to be somewhat normal, for those children that chose virtual this whole year, they will have not been back inside a school building since March of 2020. That is a long time. So we have made a commitment to our community that we will work with them to develop some sort of protocol and how we transition back those students who chose virtual, but also those students that chose to homeschool, and for those families that had chose to go to a parochial or private school. So we are working on a plan, probably starting in the spring, to reach out to those families and how we can best support them.
That's really wonderful to hear. That's sort of in my work circles, that's what we're talking about, is supporting like the process of reintegrating, and it's really got to be a process.
It does.
You know, it's as quick as things ended in March last year, you know, we just have to be sensitive and show some grace and be flexible around getting things back into the mix. We all want that, but
exactly.
There's got to be a process. So thank you. I don't really have anything else. I enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Yes, also, thank you very much for that presentation. I think for the families who are watching, it just gives such great insight. I think interspersing the slides along with the video was just fantastic. I mean, even just, I hadn't seen, someone actually cleaning a desk. I mean, just, we talk about the the electrostatic sprayers, but just to see it, and then just to see those, cute little testimonials at the end. God, just, I mean, and I've been in your building, as part of a program, and it's a warm, wonderful place to be, such great energy. And I think, as I'm listening to the certain kind of buzzwords that come up, or the keywords, safe, happy, but, flexible, you certainly are seeing so much of that, and especially as you mentioned from the TAs who are kind of coming in, but everybody, all the staff, Beth Nato coming in as an art teacher, and then next thing you know, as she's a gym substitute, and it takes a lot of, grace and pride in what you're trying to do together at Potter to like really, put forth that kind of commitment. And then, having had, kids who've gone through the elementary, consistency, like you said, I mean, that for these kids, having that stability, to know that, okay, I'm not in school this day, it's been confusing, but, when they come to school, they're going to be graded off the bus. I mean, I think you showed that so well, that we're going to do these same things. We have these traditions that happened last year. It might look a little different, but that's okay. I think that messaging is just so important, that these kids are hearing, like, even if things are different, they can be good different too, and we can kind of make the best of the situation, and seeing adults in their lives, mirror that, I think is really important. One question I did have is, and I'm just kind of curious, as you were presenting the synchronous learning, and I was seeing it in some of the classrooms, which I think is phenomenal, and I know how hard that must be, again, with the littlest learners, just to keep their attention, and you're doing it with two different groups. When the teachers who are committed to that, are they doing that all day? Are they having, I'm kind of curious about how they set that up. Are they asking those kids to come, who met in the morning meeting? Are they staying a little longer, or are they coming back at a later point in the day? Like, how is that being like orchestrated? Because I would imagine it's hard, like sometimes to get those kids back in saying like 11 o'clock who are working at home.
I think it depends. And the neat thing about it is that our focus in the fall was really on the at-home learning. So our vertical team meetings were teachers getting together to say, what kind of activities are you promoting at home? Mm-hmm. And we would suggest that, if you certainly want to try some synchronous teaching with the other cohort, by all means do that. And I think some teachers started by, like you saw that review Jeopardy game, and that kind of the way there. Or they started with like a science lesson that wasn't as critical, for example, as reading and math would be. Sure. But I think the key that happened for some of our teachers, the first 2 weeks after the Christmas vacation, we were remote learning. And I think they saw the benefit of those kids, being engaged every single day. And also, you can't imagine the amount of planning that teachers have to do for the hybrid model. Oh. It seems like on the surface it'd be, whatever I'm teaching on day A, I'll teach on day B. It's not, because those cohorts don't stay right in sync. Right, so I think when they saw that there, it got some of them like, gee, how can I do that? But again, it was organically from them. So for example, we have some teachers who will be meeting with their other cohorts 3 times a day. So they may do a lesson with both cohorts from 10 to 10:30 to 10:45. Okay. And because Mrs. McHenry and I set up the teacher assistant schedule, it's a one teacher assistant for 2 classrooms. They actually see, provided we don't need them for covering classrooms, they see a teacher assistant a little bit more than they did in the past. So then when the teacher now, when they're done teaching the lesson, is working with the kids in front of them, the teacher assistant may go off to another part of the building with her Chromebook and continue the support that those kids would need. So that's one example where some of them are doing it. But we have really encouraged them to what works best for you. And like, for example, tomorrow we have our staff meeting, and that's their vertical discussion. They're going to get together with teachers at other grade levels. Because one thing I think we noticed this year, because of the social distancing, we were noticing that we were almost like potting ourselves. Like the first grade teachers are always together. The second grade teachers, there's not a lot of that interaction because there's not all that walking around. So with these vertical team meetings, it gives them that opportunity to hear what other grade levels are doing. So I'm sure they'll share some more ideas on that as well.
Yeah, and I think that sounds, and again, another, the vertical integration, I think, especially since we know that we're going to, well, again, the STAR testing is very positive. I was really enthusiastic to see those numbers because, again, we've heard, people are saying, and they feel it with their students that they're not progressing, but to see that, again, the numbers are showing that there is a lot of progression and and we know there's a lot of learning, but to see it in, on paper, so to speak, I think is really helpful. But I think just, for the teachers to have those communications between grade levels, again, just to know what maybe the students wouldn't have covered, is there anything that's going to be, and again, to have that, between a first grade and a third grade teacher, second, just to have that connection is really important right now. So
and I do want to say with the data, though, so that was an example we gave you with our kids that are at the benchmark or higher, and those kids are most urgent. We looked at those two groups there.
Okay.
The data's not always that consistent across the entire sphere of things, and that's okay. That's where we dive down deep to look at it. But I think we have to remind ourselves, yes, are kids learning? Yes, they are. But we're still in a pandemic, and this is not the most ideal setup. So what teachers are going to have to do, families are going to have to do, you have to readjust. We can't say that kids are in a typical situation, so we can't expect them to be typical learners. It doesn't mean that we don't work very hard and be creative, but we're going to have a little bit of a readjustment because this is just such an unprecedented time.
And
but
think
we were
that's
thrilled,
fair.
like you said, there is movement, there is progress.
But it's really fair, I think, to put that message out too and say, we're going to support these kids, and then we're aware of the realities and we're not going to sugarcoat it. I think that's, certainly fair, and that's, an important message. So, but thank you very much. It was an excellent presentation. Thank you.
Not much that I can add that my colleagues haven't. Job well done, and it was exciting to see that. Yeah, I agree with, how they spray a desk and how they're cleaning, and the little things that go on behind the scenes, type of deal with the students and the staff. So, my hat's off to you and Mrs. McHenry and Mrs. Martino. I hope your professor was watching and gives you A pluses. If not, let us know. We'll let him know that you did a wonderful job, and it should be a double A plus.
I agree.
But thank you very much.
And Mr. Nunes, if I can just say on the custodial front, a real shout out to Mr. Kiley, because we were able to, with our 4-hour custodian, increase his hours this year to 8, and that has made a big difference, because that was part of our biggest concern. How would we get everything sanitized for the next day? And just having him there an additional 4 hours has made quite a difference.
Yeah, good.
So, yeah, Mr. Oliver sent a text. He just said to please let you know that it was a wonderful and thoughtful presentation, and he's very happy to see that you are trying to keep things as normal as possible, stick to your traditions, etc., despite the hybrid model and everything else that goes with it. But I'd just like to pick up on a few things
Go right
that,
ahead, please.
Again, it's not only the Potter School, but just throughout the district, the out-of-the-box thinking that all of the principals and the staff have had to do as we continue to be flexible and fluid, as we said. But the behind-the-scenes work that goes on, I think this really captures it well. The daily juggle of having a substitute here, there, or everywhere, and they've really been really, we don't have to worry about it more time than not. We don't even think about it. We look at the absentee list. Sometimes we'll reach out and they'll say, we're fine. People have just had, a real can-do attitude and have just dug down deep and to get the job done. It's really nice to see that the teachers are continuing to expand that synchronous learning on their own organically, as you said. And just some of the things that come out even throughout the district, what you've mentioned, all the folks that have really dug in to really help out, but the technology experts we've developed, the having a specialist schedule with PE, music, etc. Many districts I know of eliminated that completely. That's how they've been able to offer more classes and have more kids in at a time, because we decided that was important for kids to continue to have music, etc. And then the effort that goes into when students are quarantined to continue to support them in various ways. The teachers providing extra work or putting things on their Google Classroom, the kids remote, whatever it might be, they're getting it done. And then lastly, I just want to mention once again the continuing focus on mental health of not only the students but the staff as well. So they've done a phenomenal job, and as I said, throughout the district, we've just seen all of the folks really step up and get that done. So thanks.
Thank you
Good job.
very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pretty good. All right. Next on the presentations was going to be a discussion on the FY22 budget with our wonderful Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operation. But we're going to pass over on that for a second till our next meeting. And speaking of that, are you two ladies available next Monday night to have a special meeting because what we'd like to do is, and it would be basically just on the budget and also a COVID more in-depth COVID update type deal. Does that work for you, Mary?
That does for me,
Kathleen?
yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
In the evening, though, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
6:30,
Yeah.
normal time.
Good for me.
That'll be March 1st, okay. We'll circle back to that, okay. So we'll take care of that till,
Okay.
that's fine. Old business, Dr. Gifford.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, obviously with two of our members not being able to attend tonight, we thought the budget as well as the discussion of starting to bring more students back full-time, combining the cohorts, were two very important discussions. So we're going to hold those off to Monday. But what I will mention, just so folks know, and we'll be prepared for this in-depth discussion next week, Dr. Jenkins and Mr. Oliver and I did meet, and Mr. Kiley, and we included Mr. Michaud in a meeting this week, just to kind of start laying the groundwork on what might we be able to do to start bringing more and more students back. So without going into a lot of detail, just some of the things that we're thinking, of course, is starting with our youngest learners. We always worry so much about reading, especially the skills, but also the real focus on the social emotional, and we all understand and recognize how much our kids are struggling, not just here, everywhere. So whatever we can do to start trying to create even what you just saw, some normalcy, even more, and starting that effort to bring them back. We have some good things happening for us. We've seen some downward trends now with the virus, and I believe Dartmouth went into the yellow, and the numbers were very, very low this last week. Again, we'll see what happens after the holidays. We're monitoring everything all the time. We have, I think, a proven success with following safety protocols in our schools. We still, to this day, as far as I know, we have no hard evidence of transmission in our schools, student to student, staff to staff. It's just not there. Our response to cases that have happened has been very effective. We quarantine when we have to. We are in contact with the Board of Health. We make good decisions. And I think that's been important and kept us able to even keep our hybrid model running as effectively as is. As you've seen, we've run successful sports program, our music program. Kids are out there participating, etc. We obviously have things to think about. That's what we're going to be more prepared, but we'd like to make a plan, because we'll have to look at simple things, not so simple, as desks, because we shifted from desks to tables a long time ago. Now do we need more desks? So the inventory will have to be taken. Bus safety and transportation, as we all know, the transportation guidance was changed so that elementary students, there's no capacity on that, but we still want to make sure there's safety going on the buses. In classroom setups, etc. So I've asked the principals, and again, this is, we will have a big discussion on Monday, but I just want to lay it out there that we're starting to make a plan. I've asked the principals to look at the classrooms for the younger students to start slowly, and we'll decide what that might look like and how we can start to get some of those kids in. So, like I said, we know it's too big of a discussion to have without two of our members here. But I want folks to know that we are planning to the best of our ability to start that. We're in the conversation, let's put it that way, and have a draft plan in our heads that we'll talk more about next week.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you. Mary?
Dr. Gifford, do you think
Yeah.
that we could possibly get Mr. Michaud here next Monday? Would that be possible, just to have his?
I will check if he can zoom in for us, or.
Yeah, I mean, just for, just for that part, if we can just
Yep.
get his insight.
Yep.
But I agree, I think it's a really
Yep.
important move to
Yeah.
have this conversation next
And
week.
I know, the vaccine thing, and we have all those issues going on now with we can't do them here and all, but there's a lot to consider, but I just, I think all of us, and I know when we spoke to Dr. Jenkins and Mr. Oliver, whether people agree on whatever protocol or process we might use, I think we're all in agreement that we really need to get some kids.
Yep.
We've got to make that effort.
Mhm.
And
Thanks.
and there's just one more thing. I just want to say, you hear all this stuff out there that every other school is in this. That is absolutely not true.
I know.
Schools have made decisions based on their size of their schools. Again, I just mentioned, I know of some that eliminated, for example, phys ed and music and art teachers and move them to be classroom teachers so they could have more classrooms. So people made the decisions that were right for their districts. We're very happy with the decisions we've made. We think we've done everybody, as you just saw, has done a great job, but we all understand we want all our kids eventually back at school. So.
Right.
Want them back.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Kathy?
I don't really,
I said this is going to be.
Yeah, we're talking about this on Monday
This is going to come back
anyway,
next
yeah.
week, so we can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really, I'll save it for Monday.
Yeah.
I don't really
That's
have
fine.
anything, I just had a
Yeah,
couple.
and we'll
but-
have more of a little bit of a plan of at least
Yeah.
some of those things that we're already planning for.
Yeah.
You can't just say next week, oh, by the way, tomorrow we're starting.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the point. We want to have a plan in place, which we pretty much do, but if things shift and change and we have to back off on that, then we do.
One thing I do have,
Yeah,
if
go
I-
ahead,
if you don't mind,
Kat.
Cha-
Yeah.
just with that said, in your planning, you probably have already thought of this, but of course, you've got those families, we all want our kids in person.
Yeah.
Fully, obviously, and parents are frustrated and they can vent their frustration. I understand that. But for those families who are really concerned about the health and safety and chose virtual, once we sort of make a plan and stick with it to move in person, we talked about recovery and getting back into the swing of things. Will those families still, at least for the year, be able to stay in that virtual platform?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we wouldn't recommend it, especially at the elementary level, of them
Right.
switching, because the classroom's just been functioning 100%.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I think this goes back to the question I asked
Yeah.
Mr. Kiley way back, is things had changed for January, just for grins and giggles.
Right,
How
right.
much time do you need to
Right.
get the schools
Right.
back going? So
Yeah.
that's, 3 or 4 days
Yeah.
anyway, so, which is fine. Very good. Okay. New business, superintendent update.
Yeah, obviously we're on vacation, so I'll only mention two things. March 4, I think I sent you the links to things that are happening, but two of the newer things were, I'm really happy to see the TEDx talks are happening. They'll start early in the morning. There are YouTube links for that, but I've attended so many here over the years, and they're just wonderful to see the kids get up there and do the job that they do. So those will be virtual, of course. So I sent you the links on those. And just the other thing, the Cushman pre-K virtual orientation is happening tomorrow night, and that's on our Facebook page as well. It's and on the district website, the information on that. And people received it in their backpacks. So those are for folks that applied for our pre-K program, and it will be taped for others that missed it anyway. So that's it. As I said, it was vacation, so back to it now.
Back to the grind.
Yep.
Okay. Report of the chair, well, I wasn't planning on. So just a couple of things that I normally would have talked about if I was sitting over there. I know Fall 2 started up today.
Oh,
with the
yes.
sports and
Yes.
that type of deal, so, you know, the football, cheerleading, indoor, outdoor, the boys and girls indoor track being
Football,
held
yep.
outside.
I'm glad
know,
you
but-
mentioned that
but good
because
luck.
they did do the hockey with
I was gonna ask
fans, and Mr. Chris Foley said, all in all, it went well.
Yeah.
So
Yep,
Okay.
we'll keep trying.
that's it.
As
Very good,
spectators,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
you know, good luck to those students as they get into this for the next 2 months. And hopefully the weather will cooperate,
Yep.
so they're not trying to play football in
Blizzard.
6 feet of snow, that type of deal. Also, too, believe it or not, the indoor percussion and color guide shows started up this past Saturday with their virtual shows. I don't know how they went. I talked with Mr.
I
Runks
don't
tonight,
either.
and he said it went well, so, which is good.
Good.
But other than that, that's what's up there. Anybody have anything else? No? Okay. Ms. Gunther, do we have any other comments besides the couple that you talked about ahead of time that you had sent us?
No.
No other comments? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we set our next meeting, special meeting for next Monday night. That is going to entail just the budget and a COVID-19 update.
Okay.
That's
And in person here.
in person here, 6:30 type of deal. And then we're going to be 3 weeks in a row because then we also have Monday, March 8th.
Right, which is a day that the students won't be in school that day. Correct? That's a teacher in
That's a-
service day, that, the Monday,
That's-
8th,
yeah.
is that? Okay.
So but we'll be here
Awesome.
because they'll be here, so the school will be open,
course.
that type of deal. So we'll have that. That being said, we have, the executive session tonight has been canceled. No,
No need.
no need to have that. Anything else, Dr.
No,
Gifford?
no, I have nothing
Mr.
else.
Kiley? You have anything? We're good? Okay. So with that being said, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Moved by Ms. Amaral, second by Ms. Wade. On the motion, any discussion? Chair hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening. Be safe.
Thank you. Shannon, feel well.
Yeah, I'll be
Shannon,
feel
feel
better.
well.
And Chris.